Welcome, everyone, to episode 431 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Penteleresco, fully sane once again-ish. I write stuff in Podcast 2. Today, my guest is Yolanda Yvette, public speaker and writer. It's my first public speaker. I advertise as such anyway. First over a writer. I've had writers that speak in the past, but this was cool. It's just like I'm just meeting and just keep expanding my horizons into different places. It's been a really cool experience. I'm finally rested. I'm working on my writing gig tonight and hopefully to finish that off. But outside of that, I can't wait for what's next. So this weekend, do a tarot. They're going to get a special reading from chapter 9, one of my favorite chapters in that book. That's going to be the reading this weekend. It'll be just that. I promise you it'll be worth it. But yeah, man, I can't wait to do another book. Now that I'm sane and I now have a better idea what I'm doing. I can't wait for the next book, whoever that will be. But until then, let's just get to our conversation, shall we?
This episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint supports creators by creators. Whether you are writing a book or creating a video game, Indie Imprint works with its clients to produce, edit, and present their projects to the world. For more information, check out their website at www.indieimprint.com.
Yeah, I like that. Those kind of podcasts anyway.
Yeah, well, everybody does. That's kind of why I do it. So listen, the recorder's officially on. I always ask this question to start with. If you have anything incriminating you'd like to say, make it good. No. No,
from the cradle to the grave.
You're pleading the fifth. Is it pleading the fifth kind of thing, or is it kind of like one of those, I am a good girl kind of, or something?
I don't know what you're talking about. It never happened, what?
Okay, so the fifth. I got you. I totally got you. I can respect that. I mean, after all, who knows? Like, these podcasts are in the digital realm forever. Somewhere, somehow, or maybe our progeny will come to this and go, "What were we thinking doing this in this time?" And to which I tell them, I really don't know what we were doing and thinking in this time, but this is what we do. So, how are you today?
I am doing well. I'm glad that we finally got to get this together.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of glad too. I'm sorry. I became a freelancer and life got busy.
No apologies. I understand.
Yeah. You freelancer too?
You said no. I have not dabbled into freelancing. I'm gonna leave that to you guys.
Oh, okay. So what do you dabble in?
I dabble in public speaking training.
Public speaking.
That's what I dabble in, and that's what I do, and I love. So yeah.
So you're a public speaker. So this must be a strange time for you then, because in one sense, because you're used to an audience, aren't you? And this is not an audience kind of deal at all. It's more like I'm talking to a computer, and its name is
right.
and its name.
This is a tough time for fellow extroverts as myself. So it's difficult, but we just have to get through it, and I'm getting through it the best that I can. But it does allow me to get certain things done during this time of, like, I was able to write my book. I'm able to do things virtually because that's what we have to do now. So I'm able to do workshops online. I'm able to coach still online, find new clients, find new ways, find podcasts.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. So I
think differently.
Yeah, well, you have to. I mean, you have to pivot. I mean, this won't last forever, right? But while it's here, it's like, well, this is how we're going to play this game for the time being. So let's play the game. What's the best way to do it? And well, for me, I decided I would just write books and get published, and keep going with the podcast because I'm crazy like that. So,
how's that going for you?
Oh, it's been a wild ride. I get to meet all kinds of interesting people like yourself. And I've had opportunities to speak with people I normally would not get the opportunity to speak with in this capacity. And I've met so many cool people. So on that end, it's been good. Freelancing, I think I figured out, so this is where I think public speaking and freelancing do intersect, and that's advertising. because what I think you guys, what public speakers do incredibly well is they tell their stories to a large audience. And as a freelancer, I realize that the best marketing I can do is just tell my story, however I tell my story. And you obviously have to scale it up and keep going and keep moving. But what I've learned is, like, really, my real battle is just advertising that I'm out there. And everything else is just what happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no one knows what you do until you tell them.
Yeah.
That's advertising.
Yes.
In a nutshell, ta-da!
Ta-da! But that's what it's been like for me. Like, I've learned that that's really what it's all about. And I realize that the reason why a lot of people don't do well at this is they don't really understand how to advertise themselves, right? And I as weird as this sounds, I look at pro wrestling as kind of like my model of how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm an old school Macho Man Randy Savage fan.
Ooh, me too.
Yeah, I love the Macho.
My era.
Yeah. So I love the Macho Man. So there's this one promo he does where he literally does the cream of the crop thing where he takes these coffee little creamers, and he's like a magician, man. They keep coming out of everywhere. He tries to balance one on his head, and it just falls, and he just rolls with it. He just keeps going. It's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. But then I realized, like, he is a brilliant marketer, because it doesn't really matter what he's saying. He's telling a story, and he believes it, and it projects onto us, and it still works. I mean,
because you're talking about it today, and think about how long ago that was.
Yeah, exactly. It still works.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest techniques. It's storytelling, right? You're a public speaker. You tell stories to teach or to inspire or to... You go out of your way to actually present something so that people can see things differently. And I'm guessing that the majority of what you do is you tell stories.
Yeah, I have to, because you have to be able to, well, it depends on who your audience is, but I usually always tell a story somewhere in between. The story may change depending on who the audience is.
Oh, sure.
At that time, but you have to be able to tell a story, and the best story you can tell is one that's personal to you.
Yeah, the one...
To convey that message and touch hearts, or motivate someone, or, encourage someone in some way.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, so, how'd you get into public speaking?
That's funny. Apparently, I was a shy child, like most children are. And then something clicked. I never wanted to speak in front of people. I sang in a choir as a child. I've been involved in a lot of different jobs. So at one point, I was selling products in people's homes and doing vendor shows and things of that nature. So that made me have to get in front of people and talk, which I loved to do. Who knew? And so it just ended up giving me more and more courage to speak in front of people. Because I was never nervous when I walked to anyone's home. I was never nervous when I had to do a vendor show. And then I started to speak to groups about self-esteem. And so the groups that I was speaking in front of kept getting larger and larger. People kept requesting me to speak about different topics. And I just fell in love with it. And then I went to school and giving your presentations and things of that nature in classes. I would just kill it, because I just love being in front of everybody. And I had instructors who would kind of point me out in class to be like, oh, you should have did, make sure y'all do it like Yolanda. Yolanda did a good job, or whatever, kind of embarrassing. So I was like, oh, yay me. So it's just something that I just fell in love with. And then becoming a trainer came from going and sitting in a lot of different workshops, a lot of different conferences, and listening to other people speak. And I realized that they were leaving a lot of money on the table because they weren't able to captivate their audience. Because as a speaker, for whatever you're talking about, you're trying to motivate, you're trying to sell something, or whatever it is. And a lot of times I would even leave from there thinking, what did they even talk about? Or what was going on? Because I wasn't paying attention. So I was like, hey, I can teach them how to do this in the most effective way and make a profit at the same time with something that I love to do. And that's how
Yep. No, it just, for me, it's hilarious because about paying attention. Today, as you know, during this time, everybody's trying to sell everything to everybody, right? So I had this saleswoman trying to get me to go into, give me your crypto so we can make money, even though I've learned long ago, it's like, I don't really need you. If I'm getting the crypto myself, I can make the money myself. I'm old-fashioned that way. It's just like, if I find, I keep, and losers weep, that old game. But I digress. But she was going door to door, and she was being persistent, and she was trying to get me to engage her and talk to her, and she bombarded me with all this information I didn't really give a rat's ass about. And I told her afterwards, like, listen, would you like some advice? And she kept trying to turn it back into a sales pitch. I go, honestly, you're doing it wrong. I told her, I don't know you. And because I don't know you, I'm not really interested in hearing your sales pitch. And you need a letter of introduction or something to introduce yourself to people, or else this isn't going to work. And I even offered, like, I could do it for you. Like, I was selling my own services in the process because I just saw an opportunity right there. Because, it's like, what? I'm sure this would work with some people. It's not going to work with me, but I'm sure this would work with some people if you actually sounded like a human being. Right? And I realized, like, that's really the big thing is establishing connections and relationships with people. And I realized that I think for most people the challenge today is I think a lot of us just don't want to do that anymore. Or maybe we don't know how to do that anymore.
That might be a thing too. We don't know how to. And it's all about, again, it's a relationship thing. It is. If people don't know how to cultivate a relationship or start a relationship with someone, they just go out with a straight, hey, would you buy this from me? I don't know you, like you said. Why should I trust you with my money?
Yeah. I worked hard for my money. I stole it fair and square. You can't...
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's the thing, right? You have to, and I realize this, like, and because of that, there's a lot of opportunity in the world right now because there's a lot of people that don't know how to do this. And I can imagine, like, as a coach, that's probably one of your biggest sources of revenue, actually, is that, okay, this is how you talk to people. Am I wrong on that, or am I...
No, you're right. This is how you talk to people. And everyone doesn't know how to do that. It seems simple, but it's not. It seems like it would be second nature, like common sense, but it really isn't.
Again, going back to something I said earlier, we speak in stories. We can speak direct. Like, there are times to be direct with people, and there's times like, hey, listen, this is a boundary, don't cross the line, that kind of deal.
Right.
But the reality of the situation is, the reality of the situation is, we don't respond to that very often. There's a reason. There's a reason the Bible's in parable. It's not straight to the point. It's like people go, why the heck is he just doesn't come straight to the point? Because people don't get it. You hear stories, you get from stories you can connect. You just are built to connect to them that way, and that's how you're built. So the challenge is once you have a story, once you have that story made, is you have to figure out how to present it in a way it's like, okay, this is worth your time, this is worth experiencing. And as an author, that's my challenge. It's like, how can I get you to experience? And what I've been learning is like, I have to tell a story about my story. Your case, I think that's where we differ. You don't have to necessarily do that. What you're trying to do is just like, okay, I want to get in touch with you with this problem, this space, this time, this, right? I want to convey a message, a specific message in this moment that you might need, whether I'm talking to students in a class about what you want to be when you grow up, to CEOs, what they want to be when they grow up, because now they're like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing here now. So I'm sure it's, what's generally your audience?
My audience right now focusing on our authors and coaches. And then I have some people that come in who just want to start speaking about different business ventures that they have, and they want to, convey those messages out as well. So that's what I do, and I'm usually able to cultivate their message for them, with them, that they're able to convey to whatever their audience is.
Okay. So So basically, you're like, okay, so this is your story. This is okay, but this is how you make it better, kind of deal.
Yeah, because I listen to their talk. I sit there and I listen to their talk, and we make our critiques, and we do the whole practicing thing. Like it's you don't just work with me for like one day and you just got it. That's not a thing. So we cultivate your message to make it personal to you and to what the other people want to hear. Because I'm that objective person who's not just going to be your friend. Because sometimes we have those friends that just tell you, "Oh, that sounds good. I'd buy it," and it sucks as the other person. Because sometimes you don't want to tell your friend that they suck. That's me. That's where I come in. And tell you, you suck. Let's change this. Let's fix this, and let's make you some money.
Yes. So basically, well, yeah. I've been researching marketing this time. Like I said, because I feel that sales is one of the 3 big areas right now, and people want to get you to buy it. And one of the things I realize is you don't market to your friends. Like you never do that, because it's a huge mistake. I had a client and they were doing an advertising campaign, and one of my goals with the campaign was to actually expand their reach into a broader audience. Because yeah, you can make your goal with just your friends, but then your audience doesn't grow. You don't get bigger, and you actually will get smaller, because what ends up happening is your next campaign, right, you get killed. Because now they're your friends. They've already helped you once, right? Some of them might help you twice. I mean, there's some of them are legit fans, but you're going to have a smaller audience. Then you're going to have an even smaller audience. Then you're going to have an even smaller audience, because you haven't learned to reach new people.
Right.
Right. So, and that's
finding your target audience and doing your market research is crucial.
Yes.
It's crucial, because if not, you're just casting a wide net and hoping to catch something.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, writing like books today is very niche. Like okay, so I have 2 right now. I have a science fiction adventure book. So there you go. My pitches are to science fiction adventure people. Hey, you want to? Hey, the picture of the Matrix meets Indiana Jones, and I start there. Then I have another niche where it's like it's epic poetry. I've done 3 books in that prior to that, so I'm continuing down that market. It's Alice in Wonderland is Greek mythology. So my next book is going to be my female Parker novel, Parker Meets Quantum Leap. All right, and so I'm looking at, okay, so for each book there's a different audience, and there might be some crossover because it's my name, but I know for a fact that if you're buying Alice in Wonderland, you may not be interested in the Cloud Diver. Buying the Cloud Diver, you may not be interested in Alice in Wonderland. You're basically each book, each project, I think I should put this, each project has a different audience. And because each project has a different audience, unless you're writing to a specific audience all the time, romance writers do that all the time, and it works for them, right? Unless you're doing that, if you're trying to do different things, and because I'm me and I'm crazy and I want to expand my horizons as much as I can because I'm nuts, I have to constantly look at the wheel and go, okay, where do I think these people will like? Where can I find these people? How can I do it? Does that make sense, or am I on weird drugs?
That's how I have to do it too. Because
Yeah.
I'm solving a problem, and where are my people at that have these problems?
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
just it is.
Yeah. So, do you like public speaking? So if you had to go back, what's your favorite speech? Like the one you gave in front of an audience, and you're like, I nailed it. I hit a home run, and I knew I did it. I
feel like I did a talk in church when I was a kid. Maybe I was younger. I was younger, and the pastor at the time was calling all the youth out to speak for a brief moment. I forgot how many minutes we had, but like a little sermonette type of deal. And one time he called my name out. He was like, "Yolanda, you're gonna have whatever Sunday." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's my turn." So I was nervous, and I went home and I wrote my stuff out because I'm a procrastinator. Let's be clear. Okay?
Yes, most of us are. Most of us are.
Yeah, so when it was time for me to turn it in, I turned it in probably like 2 days before it was due.
Yep. Yeah, that's about right. Just
and
about.
then I went up there, and I was nervous. I got me a new suit to wear, and I was looking good, but when they called me up and it was my turn to talk, I went up there and I was nervous, and I was a kid, so I was still shy, okay? But I went up there, and I was a little shy, and I was reading off my paper, and then all of a sudden, something clicked, and I was just on it. I was on fire. And I remember telling the story in my speech about Broken Blue, which was my Toyota Tercel at the time. And after it was over, everyone told me, like, it was good. And then somebody recently just came and said, I remember you speaking about that Toyota, the Broken Blue. And I was like, that was over a decade or so ago. And they still remember Broken Blue. You know? When I got off that stage, I was like, I did so good.
You did.
I felt so good after that. And that was when I was on a stage and everybody was looking at me. That was the first time, I think, when I ever had all eyes on me.
And so because of that, you were like, yeah, I can do this. I hit a home run, and it sounds like that story. So what was it about your car that was so special to you, if you don't mind my asking?
It sucked. Like, my car was good until it wasn't. And so, my car, that Toyota Tercel was my first car, and it got to the point to where I used to get a headache just to get in my car. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I would always get a headache, and then my car started overheating, and then my car started burning my leg inside the car. And then, like, one day it just said, I don't want to work no more. As I was going down the interstate, it just said, we're not going to accelerate anymore. So
thank you for.
My car happened to stop working.
So basically,
Thanks, Toyota.
so basically, your car just said, listen, I'm checking out. Have a nice life.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't want to. My car literally said, I don't want to. See, yeah, so that was just, I don't remember how that story went into what I was saying. It must have been about, I think it was about perseverance and about what I was talking about. I just can't remember exactly how it all tied together, but it did. So, hey, that was such a good moment. Like, I can recall just standing on the stage right now in my red suit. It was pretty cool.
Ah, nice. So basically, red suit, blue car, didn't work. I survived. Is that the basic? Yes. And now that you survived, you found your passion, which is that accurate?
Yes, I found my passion. It took a long time, I feel like, to find it, but I feel like it was in front of my face the entire time. Because when I look back, I'm like, hindsight. It's like, oh, I was in front of people then. Oh, I was in front of people then. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was in front of people. Even as a kid, I was the person. It was me and my friend selling candy. We're the candy ladies. Apparently, as a kid, selling candy. So I was still talking to people as a kid. I had to be about 7, maybe, doing that. So
yeah, well, for me, I've always wrote stories. I always made stuff up, and I was very good at it. And then when I was 13 years old, I did this contest, and it just clicked. And then I realized I've been doing this the entire time. Why didn't I notice this before? Right. And I think honestly part of that is also being ready. Well, we're going to talk like one of my favorite Bible verses since we're in this mode is many are called and few are chosen. I modified that slightly. Many are called, but few choose. I think what happens with most of us, we don't fear failure because we've all been knocked on our butts on the bicycle. I mean, we've all had. I still remember when I was a kid, when the training wheels went from the one training wheel went off, and I was driving on like a 3-wheel bike, and I went the other training wheel off. I fell on my ass so many times, right? But I remember ultimately I succeeded. I got to the point where I could finally balance on the bike, and yeah, I can do it. And I can still ride a bike. I still love riding a bike to this day for the most part. But I remember those failures. I know what failure feels like. I do it all the time. Right? Success is another thing altogether. When you succeed and you're good at something, and you realize that you're good at something and you can do something with it, now there comes an expectation. And I think a lot of people aren't. What I've learned is it's not failure that scares people, it's success. Because when you're successful, that means, hey, people expect me to do this. Hey, people believe I can do this.
To maintain it.
Yeah, or even be better.
Eat it. Yeah.
Right? To even get better at it. It's not an easy thing at all. There's a lot of pressure to do that. And most people don't know how to deal with it. And when you're in that boat, you have to recognize the fact that, okay, this is how it goes, this is how it is, and you have to take a breath and look at yourself in the mirror. It's like, you know what? Screw it. I have never been here before. Let's see what happens. And everybody has that answer. Some people go like, oh my God, I don't know what to do here. Let's go back to comfortable waters. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing either. Sometimes, you know what? You don't want to, what's the term? You don't want to necessarily deal with the fact that, that thing that you can get into, you may not want to do it. And that's fine. You're not ready, or you don't even just you don't want to, right?
You don't want it. You don't want it.
Yeah, you don't want it. I mean, there's
nothing wrong with that.
No, it's a lot of people I think are harder on themselves. It's not. I think the important thing, it's not when you make decisions to do what you want to do, you're conscious about it. You don't BS yourself. You don't go, well, I could do this, but no. You don't want to do that. No, I can do this, right? Even if I suck at it, I can do this, right? And if it's something you really feel you need to do, you should do it, because if you don't, well, 20, 30 years from now, you're going to be like, well, shit, I could have done it. I had all this time to do it, and I didn't do it. That hurts a lot more than I think people really realize, and I think the real challenge in life, I think if I were to describe hell, that's the pain hell is always in. You're always in that sea of regret. And that's because that's the worst pain I can imagine. I didn't do it, and I had the freedom to do it, and I didn't, not because I didn't want to do it, but it was easier for me to do something else.
See, but I think also with that is if they don't do it and they do it later on in life, I feel like they might have learned a lesson by not doing it, because now they're going to appreciate it more. So it's okay that they didn't do it, when they were 23 or whatever.
Oh, sure. No.
Now they know, they're going to appreciate it. They're going to probably do it even more.
Sometimes it's so I interviewed Fondali, and one of the things that she told me was like, and it's in the podcast, is she wished she had done this sooner. And one of the things I pointed out to her, and you just have eloquently pointed out, is you might not have been ready when this moment had come the first time, and you might, right now you are ready. Everything's just like has lined up for you, and it's worked out, and you're doing fantastic, and all that other wonderful fun stuff now because you're there. You were ready for it. It was the right place at the right time. And sometimes that's the way it is too.
Yeah, you have to go through certain things, though. So,
yeah.
So let me ask you a question. I feel like the tables,
Oh, you want to turn the tables on me? Okay, okay, go for it.
So, because I'm going to get some help from you. Because, sometimes a doctor needs a doctor. That's what it is. So, have you ever faced the lack of motivation where you just hit that wall and you're just like, I don't have any motivation for you to write the book, to get this done. I'm just done. I'm depleted. I have no energy or motivation to get any of this done. What do you do?
It depends. What point I am at in this. For example, I'm doing an audiobook right now. Right? This is a learning experience for me. So there are days when I feel like I've gone nowhere. There are days I feel like, I got this figured out. It's like anything else in life. When you first try something, there are things you learn, you get excited, and you discover, and you want to go forward. And then there are days where you just suck. You just absolutely suck. So because there's an urgency and I have a deadline, I'm like, well, I have a really simple. The motivation's really easy for me. Do you want to get paid? Yes, I want to get paid. Then move your ass. Right? That's an easy one. Right, when there's urgency, but when there's no urgency, when there's no, I think the hardest part is when you're in the middle, and there's no clear end time, like there's no set moment, and that's harder because okay, well, you know what, it's easy to take a day off. In fact, you know what, sometimes taking a day off is great. It takes a lot of confidence to take a day off. You know what, I don't need to do it today. You don't need to do it every day. It's the challenges I find, the discipline. It's not about whether you feel it. It's about teaching yourself the discipline of putting in at least some work every day. It's not about, it's, again, you don't even necessarily have to have like a word count goal, or like, for example, as an author, you don't need a word count goal. Maybe you just need to, like, I gotta just put some words on the page. Keep it really simple that day. Like, I have time for words on the page, let's do it. Maybe the next day you're like, okay, now I can do 1,000 words. You don't have to accomplish the same amount of work every day. The important thing is to do the work every day. And that's, like, the weird way I motivate myself on that is, it's like, well, even if you only do 100 words, you're 100 words closer to the end of that novel, or the end of that story, or the end of that, you know, at the end of that assignment, whatever that is. And that's how I motivate myself. I also, at this point in my life, I'm trying to do it, so I'm hungry and I really, really want it. So motivation is easy for me right now because I don't want to go back to a day job ever again. I don't. So I'm still establishing myself, and I'm going through all the ups and downs of that, but I've given myself a personal, in my head, a deadline. If by this point you're not there, you need to pivot and change course. I don't want to change course. Right? And so I have a very firm grasp of what I want to do. And so so for me, I always think about my end goals. And when I think about my end goals, it's like, okay, what do you want to do? By this time next year, I'm going to have my own apartment. If COVID's done, or COVID's to the point where it's like whatever, I'm going to invite people in my house. We're going to do interviews like this. We're going to chat. I'm going to have sponsors. I'm going to have people know who I am from all over the world, and I'm going to maybe win my second award for this podcast. I'm going to keep growing with it. And I'm going to have books coming out every quarter or every 4 months. I'm going to have a book coming out. So I'm going to keep building my name, who I am, and what I do, so people know me as both a storyteller who tells stories and who loves to share other people's. That's who I am. I know what I am as a brand, and as a person. So that makes it really easy for me to stay motivated. I'm hungry. I want it. I don't want to fail. I'm not afraid to fail. The only thing that can stop me at this point is I die tomorrow, or me. And I'm going to make sure that it's not me that stops me.
That is good stuff right there.
Yeah.
That is motivational for me. So I appreciate to hear, but I can see you, but you can't see me.
Yeah.
See and hear your motive is motivating to me.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yep.
Because I'm sitting here I'm writing as you're talking, so I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
That's good.
Well, okay, so I have 8 rules to success. Do you want to hear them?
You said you have 8?
8 rules to success. Would you like to hear them?
Sure, hold on. Let me Okay.
Since you want motivation, here's the motivation. The 8 rules of success that I have learned so far in this life. Rule 1, show up. I know that sounds so simple, but my first rule and my 5th rule are the 2 rules almost everybody breaks that don't succeed. It's rule 1 and rule 5. Rule 2, do your shit. I'm gonna swear. If you have a problem with that, let me know. Do your
Not
shit.
at all.
Do your shit. Whatever you're supposed to do it. You know it. I think most of us deep down know what we're supposed to do. Just do it. Right? Just do it. Just do what you're supposed to do. Rule 3, this is the cliche. Don't quit. It's the cliche, but you know what? It's so true. Some people do break this rule, and by the way, I should quantify this one. Don't quit because it's hard. Only quit if it sucks. I'm too. Yeah. Only quit when it sucks, because it's things are going to be hard. That's fine. Hardship is part of life. We all suffer. Get something out of it if you're going to. But if this truly sucks, I went to become a freelancer because I did not want to resent my job. That's what it comes right down to. We're going to cut all the bullshit aside. That's what it comes down to. If I get to a point where I resent what I am doing now, I do something else. I'm too old. I don't have fucking time to resent my life in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to like the people I'm with. I'm going to like what I do, and I'm going to do the things I want to do, because damn it, life's too short. That's me. That's rule 3, fully. Rule 4, the rest is rain. You're not in control. I think one of the most humbling things about life, and you have to at some point in your life surrender control of the result. I cannot tell you that if you speak, that you're going to speak in front of the president, but you might. You might get the opportunity to have Oprah as a client. It's a possibility. I mean, who knows where you'll end up and where you'll go from here, right? I can't guarantee you anything, though. There are no guarantees in life. But the rest is rain. Rule 5.
Wait, did you just say surrender control?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I heard it. Okay.
Yeah. So because none of us are in control. The idea that we can control how we are in a moment, but we can't control necessarily. Like, look, I can't control that COVID-19 happened. I have no say in that matter whatsoever. I can choose to be upset and mortified and scared about it because it might kill me, and that's entirely a possibility. But I also can sit there and think about it this way too. In one very real way, the world hasn't changed. I could have died. I could have died even before COVID-19. I could have woke up or I could not wake up. I could catch another disease out of nowhere that no one else has had before. I could have so many bad things happen to me just going out the door on my front door every single day. Life's a risk, and it always will be. That's just the way it is. You can cry about it, or you can just accept the fact that life's a risk.
Right. So our only control is
how we deal.
Our actions.
Yeah, we control our stuff.
How we react to things.
How we react to things, and by the way, it's okay to be upset and because that's normal. You should be in touch with those feelings, but recognize what you don't control and do the best you can with what you can control, because that's all you can do. The rain's gonna fall one way or the other. You can be mad about it, right? The rain's gonna fall one way or the other. You can be mad about it, or you can accept it, and it's probably the most humbling thing you'll ever have to do. But if you can do it, you're free from so much stuff. It's unbelievable. Rule 5. Get out of your fucking way.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Sounds also fairly obvious, but honestly, and this one's not even so much for failure, it's for success. I mean, when you start succeeding, recognize what got you to the dance, be honest about your weaknesses, and do your best to correct them to the best of your abilities. You're never going to fix them all, but if you know what you know what you're good at, you know what you're not so good at, you can limit your chances of failure somewhat. Rule 6: no excuses. If you succeed, if you succeed, you succeed. If you don't, you don't. Don't excuse either way. That's life. Rule 7: be grateful. Be charitable. Be thankful. Again, when you get good things that come to you in this life, they never had to happen. None of it. I have a great dad. I have a great grandmother. I actually have 2 great grandmothers. I have a great sister. I love them to death. I have met so many amazing people in this life, and I'm grateful that I've met each and every one of them. I've learned so much from everybody. I never had to meet any of those. That could have been the opposite. I could have been crueler, meaner, tougher, right? I don't have much of a say. So when a good thing does come your way, no matter what it is, be grateful it happened. Dr. Seuss said it best: I'm sorry it's over. I'm happy it happened. Right? Rule 8: stay uncomfortable.
Ooh, that's good.
You like that?
That's good.
There you go. My 8 rules. What do you think?
Between number 3, that is it. Don't quit because it's hard. Only if it sucks is okay.
Yeah.
Stay uncomfortable. That is it. Because as soon as you get comfortable, you become stagnant.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You complacent, and you're like, I'm good, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And you're fine with that. Oh. Those 8 are amazing.
Yeah. These are what I've learned in life so far. May not know much else, but I do know those.
Number 7, you said be grateful, be charitable.
Yeah.
And you said something else. It was be grateful, be charitable, be...
No, that's it. No, that's it. Be grateful, be charitable.
Oh, okay.
I mean, another way you could say is be humble.
Be humble.
Right? If you really want to say, another way to say that's being humble. But be thankful and be charitable, because again, every good thing I've had happen in my life has not been because I did things to create that notice or that thing happening, but I didn't exactly make those good things happen. They came to me, and recognize that, and you have to be humble in the fact that, again, and like everything else in life, there's a time limit to everything, right? If you have that in your head, you have a time limit, you'll always stay uncomfortable, because you realize that those moments require, these moments you have with these people that you love, or these people that you respect or admire, they're only going to happen so many times. And when you realize that, it's like, well, then yeah, be grateful for the people in your life that are good, because if you don't have that, what are you going to do? Right? I mean, when things get rough, if you're not grateful, you might still go through a heck of a hard time. Again, hard times are going to happen in life. It's just the way it is. But at the same token, you know what? Those hard times don't last. And if you're good to people, people tend to be good to you. It's just, again, it's a universal law.
You put out.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I mean, there are other things you gotta learn too. You gotta learn how to be ruthless a little bit. You need to protect yourself. You need to have a bit of an ego, and you have to balance that very carefully, because you don't want your ego to get out of control. I have a huge ego, and I acknowledge that, but I mean, it's not as big as it probably will get eventually.
But is it ego or is it confidence, though?
Both. You have you have to have the confidence to go out there and do your thing. You got to have the ego. Where your ego's good is, I can do this, and because I've done this before, and I've proven myself, and it's worth something, right? Ego's good there. Here's where ego isn't good. I'm better than you. Once you get to that point, right? That's that.
Real quick, though.
What?
You can get knocked down real quick, but when you get that.
Oh yeah. Life has a tendency to keep me humble on that one. So I'm good. But there are people again.
I feel like it's better to humble yourself than have life humble you.
Yes, although it is funnier when life humbles you sometimes.
It's a huge lesson that you learn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No. I see. I have a family I love, and I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate with the people I have in my life. But the thing about it is, with me is, again, my sister has no problems doing terrible things to me, and I am actually grateful for that. Right? Like if I leave my phone and she's there, she'll take it, and I'll have weird posts the next day about things I did or didn't do, and I'll be like, "Yep, this happened," you know. And I have to deal with it, and I have to, it's one of those things where it's just like, yep, this is life keeping me humble. It's good. I'm trying not to cry, but it's keeping me humble, right? So, right, but that's important. Like you have to. It's a hard balance. There are things that are considered negatives that are actually can be used in positive ways. There are things like that. And you have to be, but you gotta be very honest. Like one of the things I made a conscious choice as a freelancer. I don't work for free anymore. I just don't, because it's not because I don't want to help people. I still might help some people here and there, but the reality of the situation though is, if I believe I'm worth something, I can't just give it away. I have to have an ego to say, hey, you know what? I'm worth something. And I have, right. That's kind of how I see it. Maybe it's not the right attitude, but it's mine. Does that work? Make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. So how's interviewing me been so far?
You're gonna make me start a podcast. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you do, I'll go on your show. I'll make an ass of myself. I'm good at it, as you can see.
Listen, I'm like, I thought about a podcast at one point. I'm like, well, I don't know how to do a podcast, but
don't let that stop you. I didn't know how to do a podcast either. Listen, the best lessons
because I haven't started.
What? No. So see. Here's the deal, right? Never let not knowing what you're doing get in the way, ever. Absolutely. I mean, look. I remember my first kiss with a girl. I didn't know what I was doing. I still had fun, but I didn't know what I was doing. And it's like anything else in life, right? When I published my first book on my own in my 20s, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I I accidentally started a podcast. I accidentally got published in Traditionally, and I none of that started with me knowing what the hell I was doing. I just gave myself permission to do it. That's it.
Right, because I just got a microphone, and my microphone doesn't work. So I was like, okay, whatever. On to the next thing. But I'm going to. I think that's probably going to be one of the ventures that I'm going to write down is, hey, start a podcast. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Well,
it's just very fun to me. I love, like you said, you're getting a chance to meet people that you've never met. And they don't even have to be in your own city or state.
Okay, let's see. The two biggest pieces of advice I decided to do an interview podcast are two things. Number one, never be afraid not to know what you're doing, because I certainly never know what I'm doing. It's the whole of my secret. I'm not kidding. I had no expectations of what I was getting into with you tonight. I was like, let's talk and see where it goes. Right? That's it. That was my entire master plan. I know.
Sometimes you can overthink it.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I've done hundreds of interviews, so at this point I'm not, like, again, ego. I can interview anybody. I believe I can interview anybody. But I also have hundreds and hundreds of episodes of practice. Right? So it's easier for me to do that. But yeah, I mean, I don't fear anybody or anything. I'll ask anybody to come on my show. I'll ask things to happen, and things do happen, and ta-da! I make it go. If you can ever, here's the thing. If you're not afraid to be embarrassed, if you're not afraid to fail, and you're not afraid to look foolish, what would they look foolish and failure? If you're not afraid to look foolish or fail, you can do anything you want. Because there's nothing, because really, what can anyone tell you? No, you can't because you're not good enough? Watch me. I don't need to be good enough in your eyes. I'm going to be good, right? I need to be good enough for me.
That goes back to what you said with people fear success.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. You dropped like so many nuggets tonight. Like,
I got you thinking.
All these go on shirts. Like, everything that you said should be on a shirt.
I have an 8-rule shirt in there, and I have my own merchandise
you have
too.
Merch?
Yeah, I merch, yeah.
What?
Yeah, of course I do.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't have that shirt yet, but I do have it. Like, it's my 8 rules. So I call dibs, and that's one's mine. You leave that one alone. But the thing about it is, it's just like I've been. Oh yeah, no. Like, here's the thing, right? You have to look at yourself as I'm looking at this long term. I have merchandise. I have books. I have a podcast. I want to get more sponsors. I want to get more. Like, I have goals. And the fact of the matter is, I'm not afraid to hear no. What's the worst? Look, I'm giving myself until January of next year to really see how much of an impact I can make with people. If I can do what I want to do, well, guess what? I keep doing this for the rest of my days. If it doesn't work out quite the way I hope, I still will do it, but I'll pivot a little bit. Maybe I go take a psychology thing, or maybe I take more broadcasting and just do what I'm doing, just get myself into a position. But the reality of the situation is, all right, I don't resent doing this at all. This to me is what I do, and I meet people, we talk. I sometimes motivate people myself, as you can see, and the thing about it is, I've had my ass kicked. I'm really not scared of much, and that's my strength and my weakness. And I can be honest about that.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So how about you? What are your goals?
Big goal that I've always had a dream of. When I close my eyes at night, I see myself standing on stages across the world, delivering messages between motivation and teaching people how to do this public speaking thing more effectively. But I've always seen myself, and it's crazy, like in dreams, just always seeing myself on these stages in auditoriums, being in front of people. That's my main goal. Again, whether it's selling books, being in front of people. Listen, I still want to talk to Ellen and Oprah and Michelle Obama. Like, those are people on my list of people. Like, that's going to happen.
So, and it can happen. I mean, look, I have no fear. I've had some big people come on big people come on my show, and I have people just getting started too. I have the luxury of choosing my guests any way I want, and I really, and as you can tell, I can talk to pretty much anybody. So it doesn't. I have what's the term? I have no fear. And so but again, I have people on my list. I'd love to talk to Oprah. I'd love to interview her for the podcast. I want to talk to Larry King because I think that I would love to have that conversation. I'd love to talk to Alice Cooper. I actually tried to get Alice Cooper to come on my podcast. I have no fear. What is he going to tell me? No? I never hear from her.
I start telling people the worst people are going to tell you is no. You say no, okay, you move on and try again. I don't know, it's up to you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. I've tried to get. I write to a musician called Lights. I try to get her on the podcast. I try to get Diane Birch on my podcast. I have no fear. Get people on.
I would love to talk to me and Keaton. Like, I just want to talk to so many people.
Then go talk to people. It's not.
You have to start somewhere.
Well, hey, listen. Just do your thing, right? Just do your thing and have fun, and don't be let it take you wherever it's going to take you. I ended up I'll give you a fun story. So out of nowhere, I get this phone call or this email from someone I did a panel with, and so there is this romantic writer group. I didn't know a thing about the Romance Writers Association, but I had shared this panel with this author, and she's awesome. Like, she's an amazing human being, and she invited me to do her one-day festival in Calgary. And so here I am interviewing these romantic authors, and they are making me blush like a little schoolgirl. Oh my god. Oh my god, just some of the things that they were saying. It was great, but it was a really cool opportunity. I could have been like, oh, I'm permanently uncomfortable. It's like, no, I mean, hey, listen, there are so many talented writers, period, that don't get, and romance writers, I think, are far and away the ones that get the least amount of respect, even though they are incredible writers. It takes skill to make taking a sock off sexy. It really does. And no, it's true though, right?
It is.
Right, and people people take that for granted, and the truth of the matter is, no, that takes real skill, and you learn. If you can keep an open mind, you can meet and talk to anybody, and there's some incredible people out there that you would never otherwise meet. It's awesome.
That's amazing. You're awesome, Joshua.
I try to be. I try.
You're doing well.
I'm doing well?
Okay.
Good. That's good.
You're doing well. What I do need you to do, though, is tell me, how do you say your last name?
Penteleresco.
Penteleresco.
Yes.
I was like, okay.
It's like, it's okay. No. So, Penteleresco.
I have it now. That's big.
Yeah. So I'll let you ask me. We'll come to the end of this interview with a couple things. So, where do you think my last name comes from?
Where do I think your last name is from?
Yeah.
I want to say it's Italian.
You do. Plus,
I think it belongs on a wine bottle.
It does. I totally drank it. Pants to the rescue, not wine. Brought to you by. Anyways, no. Hey, who knows? Hey, if I ever get into booze, I'll take.
It really does sound like it should be on a wine bottle.
Yeah.
Or a nice Italian restaurant, but I feel like I'm wrong. So where?
Malta.
Where is it?
Malta.
Who?
Malta.
Okay, teach me something new.
Yeah, teach you something new. Look up the island of Malta sometime. It's an interesting place. So.
You know I'm writing down.
You write all this down. I get the feeling. I got the feeling in a different circumstance I could have actually charged you for some of the stuff I gave you tonight. But
I'm sure you could.
yes. But I think Miss Yolanda. I think so. You want to interview big people. You want to meet interesting people. Have you done your best speech, or do you feel your best speech is still to come?
I feel like I've done my best speech up till now.
Okay.
But I do feel like I have better speeches inside of me.
So, okay, let's ask a big one there, and we'll wrap up the interview with how people can find you. Who are you, Miss Yolanda? What's your story? What do you believe in?
Well, I'm someone who just turned 40. And I had a great life, but like everyone has their own things that's happened to them in their lives. So I've had some high highs and some very, very lows. And through everything, I've been the person who's able to take something from every situation and learn from it. And now I'm at the place to where people are surprised how I'm still standing on my own 2 feet, with the help of God. Like that's it. I surprise myself how I'm still here with the things that I've been through.
Well, it's like what, if you don't mind me asking?
Whoa.
Like what? Hey, listen.
It's a lot of stuff.
Sure, pick
You trying
one.
to make me cry?
Well, I'm not trying to have you cry. Like saying we've all been through stuff, but
we've all been through different. All through different things. Just from like, I think everything in my life started from my low self-esteem as a child, and then if you never tackle that, it just grows and snowballs into bigger things, and you start to allow certain people and different things into your life. If you never tackle the stuff as a child. So without getting too deep into my life like that, I think that's what that entails. See, we can do a whole other part too about stuff that goes on in my life, because I told somebody else, any topic that you ever want to touch, I got a story for it.
Well,
so now it's just me and my 2 daughters who are my biggest motivation.
So how old are they?
9 and 17.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? 2 daughters. They're awesome.
That's awesome.
I love it.
So I'm gonna ask this: your 17-year-old, she like you?
Is she like me?
Yeah, is she like you? Is she willing to take on the world like you are?
Yes. And that is so funny. She just has that in her. And even when it comes to public speaking, she is a powerhouse. And I love to sit back and hear her speak. Like her views on the world are awesome. And she's not afraid to challenge anyone on her views and stand up for what she believes. And I'm just like, you're dope. Like, that's so cool. Yeah.
No, it is. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of skill to be that. The hardest thing I realize as you get older is, staying true to yourself and staying true to your beliefs, and that's hard. And being wise enough to let other people have theirs. It's a very interesting. It's an interesting balance because, again, when I was in my younger days, I thought I knew all the answers. Now that I'm older, I realize I know nothing. And
again, put that on a shirt.
Yeah. No, that one's been around forever. That one's good though.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now I'm older and wiser, I realize I don't know anything. And the thing about it is everybody I've been fortunate to meet has their own. Again, we all have our own obstacles. We all have our own personal battles, and we all have our victories and our defeats, and we all have made it this far. And I realized that maybe, it really doesn't matter to me that you might believe in, lizard people. You might believe that, in tarot, you might believe that, you might be someone completely from another spectrum in life. And I realized, something I really realized is it's not my place anymore to decide what normal is. I have no idea. And why should I pretend to understand that? Maybe what I should worry about is just trying to be wise enough to understand the person I'm dealing with in the moment, and just not worry about anything else.
Absolutely. I remember Oprah as a kid, she was doing an episode, and she had said, everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that stuck with me, that resonated with me when she was like, everyone has a story. And I'm like, everyone does have a story. And now I'm just like, oh, what's your story?
Yeah, and I mean that's ultimately what public speaking and coaching is all about. And I think, Miss Yolanda, I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
I think so too.
I think I made a good impression on you.
You did.
You did.
You did.
Okay, so Miss Yolanda, this is what I want. This is what I want from you. I want people to tell people who you are, what you do. If you have anything coming up, talk about that and how people can find you.
Okay. Well, I'm Yolanda Yvette. I'm a public speaking trainer. I am an author of the same with doing, I have my book out called, I just forgot the name of my book. Isn't that amazing?
That's fantastic.
That is so crazy. That is so crazy. Like, the title of my book went out of my head. It's called The Speak Up Book. It's called Speak Up. You go to thespeakupbook.com and order it. You can find me on Facebook, Yolanda Yvette, public speaker. You can find me on Instagram, yolanda.bingham, Bingham. I have workshops coming up every first Saturday. I do a one-day workshop, just about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. You can go to Eventbrite and search Speak Up. You'll see my picture up there, and it's free. It's a free workshop. So that's what I have going on right now. And then the works of the second book.
All right, that sounds great to me. Hold on a second here. Let me help you tell your story. I offer a variety of audio services. I will narrate, I will produce, I will edit, and I will master your file so that it will be ready for Audible and Spotify. And if you don't want me to narrate your story, whether you want to do it or get someone else, I will help you find the right person for the job. All in all, I just want to help you tell your story. Let me help you. For information on my rates and services, please click the link below in the podcast description, jpantelresco.wordpress.com for more details. And that's my conversation with Yolanda Yvette. Yolanda was awesome. It's fun to have a good back and forth with her that I did. The cool thing about this podcast for me is I always keep meeting interesting people. They all tend to bring something to me that I learn from. I think that's an awesome thing. And I think the biggest thing I've actually missed more than anything else is going to a coffee shop and just talking with somebody I'm just coming to do the interview with and coming out of it with a friendship. I miss a lot about this year. I'm sure we all do. But the one thing I do absolutely miss is that chance to look someone in the eye and just get a feel for who they are. Just in that minute, sharing that story. That's what I love doing this. Is that I'm always learning from whoever's on the other side of me. And I think it's a great thing. This distance shit sucks. It really does. I miss a lot of you. I just miss that. And I know that it'll come back soon. One way or the other, I think it is coming back. But for the time being, it's been a weird year. It really has been. But I hope you, like me, have been taking the opportunity to do different things. I do the scariest thing ever in 2 weeks. For me, although it's going to be something I've had in my head for a long time. I love comics, and I've always wanted to do one, but I can't draw worth a lick. So that's the whole theme about this comic. Can I teach myself how to draw? I can't promise you guys the drawings are going to be good, because they're probably not going to be. But I might find something that works, and if I do, it's that chance to go out of your comfort zone. And the first issue is mostly words, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see what I learn doing this, because I've learned just in doing everything I'm doing, and that's what I love to do. That'll do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so in a number of different ways. Subscribing to the podcast. I'm on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, Audible. You name it, I'm there. Find me, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, let people know I'm out there and that I rock and or roll. Or that you hate it. I'm good either way. Number 2, support by my books. Alice Zero is available now, courtesy of Amazon, as is The Cloud Diver, both written by myself. Alice Zero, illustrated by Kenzie Carr. Cloud Diver by Lance Bond. Go check them out. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3, my YouTube channel is Joshua Pentelresco. You can subscribe to that too if you want to get backtracked into some of the other stuff I've done in the past. Let's see. What else can we do? We can do Instagram, Josh Joshing Podcast, Joshua J. Panteloresco, Twitter J. Panteloresco. Find me on Facebook. My webpage is jpanteloresco.wordpress.com. Once again, if you need someone to help tell your story, I am the guy to do it. I have my audiobook business on my website. Check it out. Stay inspired, everybody. Keep doing your thing, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Josh.